I made a mistake 3 years ago, a 6-figure mistake, and it's called HBAR. Back then, I was chasing every shiny altcoin, believing the next one would make me rich overnight. You know that feeling, scrolling charts at 2 a.m., convinced you're one click away from freedom? But the truth hit me hard. While I was gambling, HBAR was working, quietly, consistently, building real partnerships while I chased noise. And now I can't help but ask, what if I just held my conviction? What if the wealth I was searching for was sitting right there all along? If you're interested in this topic, hit the like button, subscribe, and type interested in the comments, and I will give you a heart. When I first got into crypto, I thought I had it all figured out. I was convinced I could outsmart the system. Every chart, every next big altcoin looked like my golden ticket to early retirement. You know that feeling when everyone online seems to be doubling their money overnight and you're sitting there thinking, if I don't get in now, I'll miss the boat forever? Yeah, that was me. Hungry, impatient, and seduced by the illusion of fast money. I remember scrolling through Twitter late at night, following self-proclaimed experts with Lamborghinis in their profile pictures. They made it look easy. Buy early, sell at the top, retire at 30. And for a while, I actually believed it. I poured money into random altcoins that were trending, convincing myself I was diversifying. In reality, I was spreading myself thin, emotionally and financially. I wasn't investing, I was chasing adrenaline. And here's where the power of suggestion quietly took over my brain. Every pump and dump headline whispered, "This could be you next." Every viral tweet made me feel late. Every time someone said 10x potential, my logic shut down and greed took the wheel. I wasn't seeing opportunity, I was reacting to noise. Meanwhile, in the background, HBAR was just there. Quiet, no drama, no hype, just partnerships with Google, IBM, LG, Standard Bank. Name names that actually meant something, but I ignored it because it wasn't exciting enough. It wasn't trending, and that's the irony most investors miss. The projects that whisper usually outlast the ones that scream. I didn't realize then that HBAR was never trying to moon. It was building governance councils, real-world use cases, and technology so advanced it barely fit in the crypto box. While I was busy checking charts, Hedera was checking boxes that would define the future of finance, identity, and digital infrastructure. Looking back, it's almost painful to admit, had I just dollar cost averaged into HBAR, slowly, steadily, every month, without the drama, without the greed, I'd have built something real. Something sustainable. But instead, I jumped between coins like a gambler chasing losses. Here's the truth no influencer tells you. Wealth in crypto isn't made by chasing excitement. It's made by understanding conviction, knowing what you hold, why you hold it, and trusting that time, not hype, is your greatest ally. HBAR taught me that silence is a strategy, that real power doesn't need to announce itself, and that sometimes the coins you overlook are the ones quietly rewriting the rules of the game. And that's where it all began. The moment I realized my biggest mistake wasn't losing money on bad coins, it was losing focus on the one that was built to last. There's a point in every investor's journey when the charts stop lying to you and you start lying to yourself. That was me during the crash. My portfolio looked like a crime scene. Coins I thought were the next Ethereum were down 90%. Discord servers that once buzzed with energy went dead overnight. Influencers vanished. Projects disappeared. And I sat there staring at the red candles, asking myself the question every investor eventually faces: what was I even doing? See, I didn't lose money because the market betrayed me. I lost because I betrayed my own logic. I ignored the fundamentals and chased hype. I let excitement override discipline. And when the dust settled, one name kept haunting me: HBAR. Because while everything else was falling apart, Hedera was quietly doing what it always does: build. That was my wake-up call. I started to dig deeper, really study why HBAR was surviving when others weren't. And what I found flipped my entire mindset. This wasn't some speculative token hoping to get listed. This was enterprise-grade infrastructure, carbon negative, energy efficient, and literally governed by companies that define the modern world. Google, IBM, Boeing, LG, Dell, Standard Bank. These weren't random partners. They were council members, each running nodes, each having a stake in the network's future. That changed everything for me. Suddenly, I wasn't looking at a coin, I was looking at a blueprint for digital trust, a system designed to move data, money, and identity faster, safer, and cheaper than any blockchain out there. While other projects were bragging about NFTs and meme trends, Hedera was being used by banks for cross-border payments, by corporations for supply chain tracking, and even by governments for carbon credit verification. It was humbling because the same coin I once dismissed as too quiet turned out to be the one building the loudest legacy. And that's when it hit me. Patience isn't boring, it's wealth in slow motion. The power of suggestion flipped on its head. Instead of chasing hype, I started listening to silence. I began to associate quiet progress with confidence. The lack of noise wasn't weakness, it was maturity. HBAR didn't need to convince anyone. It was already proving itself in real-world applications, while the rest of crypto begged for relevance. So I made a decision. No more gambling, no more chasing. I was going to build the same way Hedera does, quietly, steadily, and with purpose. I started dollar cost averaging not just into HBAR, but into discipline. Because the biggest lesson I learned was this: the moment you stop trying to time the market and start trusting your conviction, everything changes. And that's when the game truly began to shift, not just for my portfolio, but for my mindset. Because once you understand the architecture behind Hedera, you stop asking, when will it pump? And start asking, how big will it become? After losing thousands chasing noise and learning the hard way that hype fades but structure lasts, I finally understood something no influencer ever really says out loud. Wealth doesn't come from luck, it comes from alignment. Aligning your time, your money, and your belief with something that actually has direction. That's what HBAR gave me, direction. I started treating my portfolio like a long-term relationship, not a fling. Instead of asking, when will it moon? I began asking, what is it building? And that shift changed everything. Because when you really study Hedera, you realize it isn't trying to compete for attention. It's quietly rewriting how the world's data and value move. Faster, cleaner, smarter. Think about it. While everyone else was talking about the next meme token, Hedera was powering Avery Dennison's Atma.io, tracking billions of products for global supply chains. It was being used by banks like Standard Bank and Shinhan for tokenized payments, by the United Nations for carbon tracking, and by Dell for data integrity. You don't see that kind of adoption on Twitter because real innovation doesn't brag, it works. And here's where the power of suggestion really flips. The world keeps telling you that quick money equals smart money. But the wealthiest people in this game, the ones who make it, they're not chasing volatility, they're buying utility. They're betting on ecosystems that solve problems. And HBAR is one of the few that actually does. I started dollar cost averaging even when it felt pointless, even when the market was red. When fear ruled the feeds, I kept buying. Small amounts, but consistent. Because the math is simple. Every great wealth story in crypto isn't built on a single moonshot. It's built on conviction. It's built on staying put while others panic. And that's the beauty of Hedera. It's not trying to sell dreams, it's engineering the infrastructure for them. When CBDCs, tokenized assets, and digital identity systems finally go mainstream, guess which network's already built to handle it? Not the loudest one, the most stable one. The irony is wild. The same project I once ignored became the one teaching me patience, discipline, and foresight. And the deeper I dug, the more I realized, you don't invest in HBAR to get rich tomorrow. You invest because you understand tomorrow will be built on it. That's when it clicked. I hadn't lost years chasing hype. I had been training for clarity. The real win wasn't catching the next pump. It was learning to see through noise, to recognize real architecture when it's right in front of you. So when people ask me now, why HBAR? I tell them this, because it's not just a token. It's a ticket to the next financial era. It's what you hold when you stop gambling and start building wealth the smart way, silently, steadily, and for real.